Alright, so I wanted to look at the Quaternion multiplication table. Alright, so you've got four columns, four rows, and conventionally you have 1, I, J, K, 1, I, J, K. Sometimes I can count, sometimes I'm retarded. Pretty much usually I'm retarded. Anyway, okay. So 1 times 1 is 1. I times 1 is I. 1 times J is J. 1 times K is. Alright. I times I is. Well, I'm an idiot. -1. J times J is -1. K times K is -1. I times J is -K. J the other way. I might have been saying it backwards. I don't really give a shit. Anyway, I'm just going to fill this out. What is that? That's I. And this one is -I. And this one is J. Boom. Okay, so I wrote that really terribly. But there's something you can see if you look at this. If we look at the K's, one is negative and the others are positive. If we look at the I's, one is negative and the others are positive. If we look at the J's, one is negative and the others are positive. If we look at the ones, it's flipped. One is positive and the others are negative. So, if I, J, and K are your base units in those dimensions, shouldn't -1 be the base unit in the real numbers? What if we flip this? And instead of using 1, we use -1. Alright, so we're going to get -1 times -1 is 1. -1 times I will be -I. And then the whole rest of it will be the same. And so that's still -1. God damn it. That's -1. That's -1. Oh, I'm crossing my 1. That's a K. That's a -K. Let's see, that's a -J. That's an I. That's a J. That's a -I. Now something interesting happens. They all line up exactly. The signs of everything line up. Now we have 1 positive 1, 1 positive I, 1 positive K, and 1 positive J. You don't have this weird inversion of the real numbers. They all behave exactly the same as each other. This is probably better. When we treat -1 as our unit for the real dimension, instead of 1, suddenly all of the dimensions act the same exact way. They behave the same way. Which is what we want, because the real dimension is just a dimension that we chose randomly. And the I dimension is just a dimension that we chose randomly. None of them should be preferred over the other. There shouldn't be really any differences between them. So this is weird. And this is probably a better way to look at this, with -1 as our base unit for the real numbers.